Striking from the top in the guard position. Obviously, it's a lot like the mount, but we got one big problem. We're still in guard. While you can end a fight from here, it's not nearly as dominant as the mount position. He's still controlling your hips. There's no way to get the high mount situation from here. He has a lot more options than he does when he's underneath your mount. But we have the option to pass his guard using strikes. You still have all your same jiu-jitsu options, controlling the hips, breaking the guard. You still have all these options. However, you also have a lot more options of how to beat on your opponent a little bit as you pass the guard. Because in an MMA scenario, I don't want to be right here. This is what we call dead man's land. This is a no zone. Because from here, he can break my posture, he can elbow, he can punch. This is no good. I either want to have complete posture or I want to be completely down with inside bicep control. I don't want to be sitting here working. In jiu-jitsu, this is okay. In a submission grappling match, this is okay. It's not the best situation in the world, but it's a heck of a lot more safe than it is an MMA fight. MMA, I'm either here, inside bicep control, steering, or I'm up here. If I'm up here and my opponent's trying to sit up with me, there's quick ways to end that in MMA. Again, with wrist control, a lot of people, a lot of the Brazilians especially, they get used to practicing the gi, they get used to practicing jiu-jitsu. Their opponent has good posture, and they get this pretty wrist control. Well, in jiu-jitsu, that's okay. But in MMA, you're not really accomplishing much. Because, I mean, if you're going to play wrist control and give me this much space in an MMA fight, you're going to get hit in the head a lot. From here, I mean, it's pretty easy to break wrist control, and then you're going to get pummeled. The opposite is true, or the same is true when I'm in the opposite position, when I'm here. If you're just going to lay there, I don't want to come up and throw these big bombs. While that looks great, that's not what effectively passes the guard for me, and that's my main goal. My main goal right now is not to knock you out from here. My main goal is to increase my position. So when I'm here, instead of throwing these big crazy looping bombs, I just throw straight up. I'll come inside bicep control and throw straight up. Because my opponent, he's going to be working for things too. He's going to be trying to sit up. He's going to be trying to get my posture, changed a little bit. I want to be here and throw straight up. Now, the difference in guard, we talked about in our earlier series, the angle of the hips. I don't care what kind of guard you're in. If your angle, like for instance, if you're laying like this and this is your head, if your hips are out at an angle like this, you're in a bad guard. I don't care what kind of guard it is. That is a bad guard. If your angle is up here, you're in a good guard. So right now, with my opponent, with his legs out here, the angle of his hips is an obtuse angle. It's more than 90 degrees. That's bad. He is in a bad guard. It's great for me because he doesn't have much control over me. He's going to have to try to break my posture down with his legs. He's going to have to try to sit up. And that's fine. I can use that to time it, to throw my elbows, to throw my punches. If, on the other hand, his guard were here, I'm in a much worse position. I'm going to get swept here. I'm going to get submitted. I can't really get a good striking thing going because I can't get posture. This is a much better guard for him. So how do we deal with this? One of the ways I like to deal with it is to stack and use the old school can opener. I know a lot of people say if you use a can opener, I'm going to sweep you, I'm going to tap you out. That's wonderful. I mean, I know those sweeps and submissions too. I'm not going to fall victim to them just because I'm in this position for 2 seconds. What I like to do is if I get a high guard like this, I like to stack, sit up, and as soon as it breaks, I want to punish him. If he's protecting his head when I come up, I'm going straight to the body, straight to the head. But all I'm doing is essentially getting my posture back. Okay? There's a million ways to do that. That's just one scenario I like. He's got a good high guard, and I'm here. I'll start stacking, hooking up, falling back, and throw a big elbow here. Okay? So, at any rate, you want to make sure you keep the angle of his hips down. Now, if the angle of his hips is down, and I'm using my hips to keep that angle, this is fine. I'm in a good spot here because he's not going to be able to pull some of his more aggressive guards from here. I got my elbows outside of his legs. I keep the angle of his hips good. I've got inside bicep control. I'm in a good spot to begin striking. From here, I'll start throwing my strikes straight up, or I'll start passing the guard.